April 29th. Legends will rise. Mackenzie Morrison versus Hasim Rahman Jr., Steve Cunningham Jr., Keith Hunter, and Robert Daniels Jr. Only on pay-per-view.
I got a niece called Mackenzie. We just call her Mac. So I may slip and call you Mac because I've got a niece called Mac.
That's what my dad called me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's Mac. Name's right, girl. But yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Morrison is in the building. Okay, so tell us about your dad, and then because you got to start from the root, because without him you wouldn't have been here. And mother, obviously, but you know.
My name is Mackenzie Morrison. I'm son of two-time heavyweight world champion Tommy Morrison. I'm from the same small town of Jay, Oklahoma that he's from.
Yep.
So it's me in a nutshell, really.
Good childhood?
Yeah. Normal. Nothing crazy.
Normal. Yeah, nothing too crazy. How is it in Oklahoma? Is that the Midwest then?
Yeah. That's smack dab in the middle of the country.
Are you near Bud Crawford?
He's
Nebraska.
Well, I'm a state south of Nebraska. There's Kansas between me and Nebraska.
Hasim Rahman is always here. He's always on the show. He's one of the regulars. Not Junior, his father. He always comes through and we chop it up about boxing. Okay, so right. Okay, that's where you've grown up. How old was you when you got into boxing? Did your dad help you get into boxing, or what was
That's kind of how it happened. I graduated high school, had a couple full ride scholarship offers to go play basketball. I was kind of wild when I was younger, so I decided to go straight into the workforce and stack up some money. It didn't take me long to get tired of that. Came home, pursued my dad, because at the time my dad was actually living in Wichita, Kansas, and was opening up a boxing gym. And so I moved up there with him and just basically to help him open up the gym, and watching him work with other kids and other men that got me interested in it. And I was hitting a corner in the back corner, or hitting a bag in the back corner of the gym, and could hear him and see him talking about me and peeking around the corner. And he come back there and started working with me, and that's how it aspired.
Yeah. Well, so did you have you had an extensive amateur background at all? Like how many?
I actually have had zero amateur fights. I trained for about six months, and it was like it was a sanctioned kickboxing bout with no headgear and no kicking. But that was kind of my come into professional fighting, and my dad's promoter, Tony Holden, was there and happened to watch it, and a few other people, and they got together and they amongst themselves decided that I could do this, and with the right person behind the steering wheel, figured I could do it while making money and safely learn. So that's kind of the route that we took. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So, because I do tend to notice that when kickboxers come into the boxing game, their feet are a mess. So Mac, we're gonna have to get these feet in check. Yeah. Yeah. Make sure the footwork, the stance, everything's in. Yeah, because we just saw Dillian White fight Tyson Fury, right? Oh, yeah. And Dillian White has come from a kickboxing background as well, and it tends to be he has really bad footwork because he was I think he was like really high in the ranks in kickboxing just before he came into boxing, but it shows. And kickboxers tend to never, once they transcend into boxing, their footwork seems to be just crazy because of the stance, obviously, of what they.
They've always relied more on their legs and kicks more so than their hands.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to get you in check. I'm gonna have to look at that footwork of yours.
You can look all you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you in check. I'll be like, Mac. Yeah. So the fight is the 29th. Yeah, the 29th in Las Vegas. What's the venue called again?
It is the Virgin Hotel and Theater.
Yeah, that's the Virgin Hotel and Theater. How much is the capacity of that? How many is it going to be? Quite nice and snug, do you reckon? How many?
I'm not sure. I'm assuming I haven't even got a chance to go look at the venue, but I'm assuming it's close to 2,500 to 3,000 people.
Yeah, about 3,000, I think it is, about 3K. Yeah, it's going to be nice, and it's a nice venue that I did check it bits of it out online. It's a nice venue, so it's gonna look good. And then you're fighting Rahman Jr.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and Rahman Jr.'s got he's been boxing. Like,
yeah, I mean. We're close to the same age, you know. I think he had a amateur resume.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
31, yeah. So you're in your prime.
I feel like it.
You feel like it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In your prime, yeah. And is this something that you wanted to? Is this something that you want to be like? Is this kind of like? Don't get me wrong. Is this kind of like kind of gimmicky? And I'll just do this Sons and Legends, and I'm dipping out. Or are you into this? Are you in the sport, and this is what you want to do?
Oh, and I mean, yeah, I'm wholeheartedly involved, you know, in the sport. It's taken me a little longer than normal. You know, most people get into the sport, they have 4 or 5 fights, and they have a step up, and then they you know, normally are on a fast track towards a world title. Whereas me, with limited amateur background, it took us a little longer. And then I had a couple of hiccups along the way with my first promoter, you know, losing ties to a casino that we were fighting at locally.
Is it anyone that we know? Is it anyone that we know?
That would have been Tony Holden was my promoter at the time.
Thought it was Don King. I was going to say, yeah, I get it.
No. Actually, Tony was the same promoter that promoted my dad, and he had Joe Macy, you know, Iran Barkley, guys like that. Johnny Tapia, he promoted guys. But anyway, you know, I kind of shot off real fast there at the beginning. The first 3 years, had a bunch of fights, racked them up, and then, you know, that happened. And then I was kind of left stumbling around in the dark, you know, pursuing this career on my own a little bit, bouncing around from here to there and doing some small club shows just to stay afloat, make some money, and stay active. You know, and then I met Joe. After I'd kind of made a mistake and moved to Florida to try to fight for a guy that had a plan that was nothing like mine. You know, and Joe kind of rescued me out of that situation. And as
Joe's a good guy.
Oh yeah, I love Joe to death, man.
Yeah. So what's your stats? And this is really bad because you know what? Usually I'm a bit like up on game and all of that, but I had a really I ran a few shows a week, and I had a really late because I'm 8 hours ahead of you, by the way. So I had a show yesterday that didn't end. It started at 10:30 p.m. my time, and it didn't finish until 6 a.m.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And by the time I went to sleep, it was like 8:30, 9 a.m. You know, then I had to get up 2 hours later at 11. Then I crashed. I spoke to Joe. Then I crashed until like 5 p.m. So, and then there was stuff that I had to do. So, sorry, I've just been all like,
it's no big deal. Me too. I'm completely out of my element right now.
No, it's all good. You're all right. And what weight class do you fight at, Mac?
Well, I fight at heavyweight.
Are you heavy? What's your height? Tell me your height.
I'm 6'4", 235 pounds.
Ooh, look, don't just ignore me. I'm being a dick. 200. I'm being such a dick today. It's called lack of sleep. 235 pounds. Yeah, you a heavyweight. Yeah, that's what Dillian White should have came in at. Like, let's talk about what we've been seeing in boxing. Have you been watching the last? Because we've had I would say lit month. Definitely April's been a lit month, and you're adding to the lit month. So thank you, because I will be watching that. It's going to be, I think, guys, in the UK, it will be on Fight TV, and also in demand as well. I'm not sure what the price is going to be, but I want everybody to support it, because I think it's fucking sick, like this Sons of Legend thing. I think it's an amazing idea.
I mean, it's the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. So, and I'm just gassed, and I'm geeked out to have you guys all come on as well. And I'm really geeked out. I love talking to people in boxing. I've had the pleasure. I don't know why they come to me. I've had the pleasure. Rock. I have Ronnie Shields. I have Michael Hunter. I've had everyone near enough on, and now yourself. So like, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why you guys can't. But maybe it's just like, let's just see this mad girl. She crazy. Yeah. So let's kick it off with Spence and Ugas.
Man, he was just, I feel like Spence was too ready for that fight. He was just chopping out the bits to come back, and unfortunately, Ugas was his canvas that he came back and painted on, which wasn't so good.
Yeah, that was. Did you have a prediction?
I had Spence all the way. I've been an Errol Spence fan ever since he, I first watched him fight. And I feel like he can run his division.
Yeah.
He did. He just had a run of bad luck with the car wreck, and what was it that he had issues with? Was it his eye?
Yeah,
he had an eye issue. Yeah,
he had a detached retina. Yeah.
But outside of that, I think that he's one of the best fighters in his division, definitely.
Okay.
What I've seen? I just seen a boxing clinic. It is what it looked like. Yeah. You guys just didn't. He was just a step behind the whole fight. It's kind of what it looked like to me.
Right, we're gonna have a good old. I'll be back on camera in a minute. We're gonna have a big old topic on this because I could see because I'm a Bud Crawford fan, so you know where this is.
Me too. I actually,
how are you? No.
I went up there whenever a couple of guys that I was training with at the time sparred with him. They were two brothers from Seneca, Missouri.
Right.
Got a chance to meet him. He was a real humble guy.
Who wins? Bud, Spence?
Man, that's a tough one. That's one that's 50-50. It's like really who just shows up the better man, that night. Because on any given night, either one of them could beat each other. It's just really going to.
How does Spence beat Bud? With what? Is it a decision?
He's going to have to not get hit. Come again?
Is it a decision, points decision? Is it a stoppage? How Spence beats Bud?
Oh man, he's gonna, and he'd have to knock him out. He'd have to. I don't see it any other way.
I know, and Bud's never been knocked out, by the way. Neither Spence.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's just gonna have to knock him out because if it goes to the cards, as good as the fight is gonna wind up being, I think that they're gonna wind up calling it a draw and then declare a rematch. So it's just going to wind up being one of those things where they, you got the politics trying to continue to make the money, and then you got the fighters trying to put on the best show.
Yeah, and they make double money though.
Well, yeah, and that's our job. So I mean, we can't really gripe about going to work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is a job, and you guys are. We respect you guys. You lot are gladiators. That you go in the ring, and some people don't come out of the ring not alive or not the same way that they entered. So
yeah, it's a dangerous job.
Yeah, it's a dangerous job. Sometimes I think, I'd love now that I'm in the sport of boxing. Sometimes I think it's okay. I'll be doing the same thing.
My family was out shopping and stuff, and they've been gone. They just came back.
It's okay. It's all good. Shut up now. Yeah. I thought, I'd like to be a boxer now that I'm thinking it, and I'm just like, maybe not. Like. Maybe not just getting bashed in your face for 10 rounds for women. Maybe not.
Well, you got to practice defense. Yeah, the goal's not to get hit.
I'll Philly shell on them. I'll Philly shell. I'll try and get my Floyd Mayweather on.
Yeah, that's the key, man.
That's the key. Yeah, defense is and some people, but this is what I'm saying. Bud's defense is offense. He's amazing.
Well, he's just long and rangy, so he has the option to stay further away from most fighters that weight that tend to weight in and stand there and bang. So if you have that as an option, you might as well use it. Yeah.
And what would you say that Errol Spence's strong points are over Bud Crawford? Because when I hear people say, I'm a Spence fan, but I'm a Crawford fan too, I always don't listen to them. I always be like, no, you were Spence fan.
Well, I think that Spence, he's a little quicker. He fights a little tighter. It's almost kind of more like it's kind of like a repeat of the Hagler Hearns deal. You got a long rangy puncher versus an inside quick banger. And if they both come out and they bring the heat, then you're just going to see fireworks. And there's really no way to, predict that. It's just everybody's going to be on the edge of their seats, holding on, enjoying the ride.
Yeah. So you think that Errol Spence is quicker than Bud?
I mean, in an inside fight, I think so. Because Terence, a lot of the snap off his punches comes from, his range, and the distance of his punches travel, and then the snap on the end of them, and the lanky leverage of it all.
I think I would agree that Bud is not as good in the inside as Errol. I give Errol he's good with shots to the body. His body shots are amazing. His jab's amazing. He's flat-footed though, so I wouldn't say that he's quicker than Bud, because Bud be on the balls of his feet. Bud isn't flat-footed, so I wouldn't say that Errol's faster than. But Errol has a deceptive pace where he'd be there and then he'll be there. I don't know how he does it. He's not fast on his feet, even though he's flat-footed. He's got a way of how he shuffles his feet and it cuts off the ring.
He's good at getting in position.
Yeah. So I like that. I like that about him, and I like that. He's broken a couple faces. He's got some pop. We saw it. But I have to give Bud. He stopped 10 people in a row now. So I would have to say that he is the. I mean, there's breaking faces and then there's just KOs or stoppages.
The power punching definitely goes to his side.
Yeah. And I would say that he has better lateral movement. I think they both have great ring generalship. So I can see where people will say that it's 50-50. For me, I would say it's 60-40 Bud, but I could get with why people say it's 50-50. Yeah. And I can't wait.
That extra 20% could go either way. Both great athletes.
Yeah, that's right. And do you think we need to see that fight to be definitive of who's going to be undisputed at 147?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think that boxing needs to get back to the best fight the best, and not just everybody fights for the most money they can.
Like how it was when your dad and your dad's days. Everyone fought the fucking best, didn't they?
Yeah, in the 80s and the 90s, people, they fought, and they weren't getting paid very much. Now everybody's expecting $1 million paydays and fight the most popular person.
Yeah, they're fighting once. One second. They're fighting once a year or once every other year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gone. Hey girl, it's LadyChann, rep none less. Come box with Chan. Yan. Come box with Chan.
April 29th. Legends will rise. Mackenzie Morrison versus Hasim Rahman Jr., Steve Cunningham Jr., Keith Hunter, and Robert Daniels Jr. Only on pay-per-view.